Hello all of you beautiful little demons, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, and yes, you've read the title, it is time for another Not List, aka an episode of These Things Suck, a sort of format where me and my neck vein Jeremy take a whistle-stop tour around the video game industry, find things that really rustle our jimmies, get really salty about them, and then make videos for your entertainment, in which I die a little inside. You're welcome. And today we're talking about video game difficulty spikes. But not just any difficulty spikes. We're talking about difficulty spikes that fucking impale you. There is very little more infuriating than encountering a horrendous difficulty spike. Your journey to take on the big evil of the land was going so well up until this point. You'd slain the hog beast of the Dankenmire, you'd trounced the troublesome red-eyed ogre of Hayfever Mountain, and even come out on top against the horrendous haddock men from Fry Pan Cove. However, now you're being made to look a right tit thanks to a jumped-up regular enemy which now, for some reason, is giving you the business. In short, it can be utterly deflating when this happens, as remember, it's meant to be a difficulty curve, not a difficulty spike through the goddamn eye. So let's take a look at them today, as these really do make my salty crack very itchy, because I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these difficulty spikes suck. So for those of you out there that have got younger brothers and sisters, have you ever looked at them and just thought, I really hope that you never grow up to be as jaded as me. Like you actually have some innocence and purity left in you. Let's just try and preserve that. Well, my friend, if you've ever thought that, if you ever want to preserve that purity, then never under any circumstances let them anywhere near the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game for the NES, especially the Damn level. I know it's a rather random scenario, but trust me, it is worth a warning, because you see, while the game looks like butter wouldn't melt in its mouth, the game is actually a raging skip-fire when it comes to one level in particular, which is so sharp of a difficulty spike that it will be able to pierce even the toughest turtle shells of our heroes in short order. In the Damn section, very aptly named, you've got to defuse a set number of bombs in a rather tight time limit. No worries, you might think to yourself, surely the pizza-loving brothers will be able to see this daring do through. Well, I've got news for you, my friend, as thanks to the placement of stinging seaweed that will sap your life essence like you're in a dead-end relationship, and electrified gates that bar progress causing you to lose precious time, the only pizza you'll be experiencing here is this pizza shit bit of level design. If ever there was a level that turned hero to zero, this was it, as unless you're a pixel-perfect swimmer or have enough lives stocked up, the Damn level sure lived up to its name, as you will curse its existence forevermore. And it's a right shame, because by comparison, the rest of the game is an utter cakewalk. So, can we all just take a moment to realise that the Simpsons games that dropped for the NES were utter garbage? They were so ridiculously unfair when it came to their difficulty that you would likely get yellow skin yourself, because you would develop jaundice from all of the kicking that your liver took from these games. They'd just be like, take that, and you'd be like, no, please stop, it's really hurting now, and they'd be like, don't care, don't care, don't care, do the Bartman, cowabunga. Homer catchphrase. Brutal doesn't even come close to cutting it with these games, which served up a relentless buffet of pain in the form of ridiculously tight platforming and slippery controls, a combination that rightly deserves its very own place in gaming hell. And ironically, the difficulty spike that stuck out like a sore middle finger from Bart Simpson versus the world was actually found in the North Pole. Why is this ironic, I hear you ask? Well, because it set my soul alight, and yet here we are in a snowy paradise. In the other levels, you had to guide a very floaty Bart Simpson through rather impossibly unfair hazards, but here you had to do all of this while contending with ice physics. This is fun. I genuinely get war flashbacks when I think of the number of times that I landed on a platform only to see little Barty boy here slide off into the fucking abyss. And things only got worse when you escaped the dank green cave section and reached the surface, as here you had to move a block of ice from one side of the screen to the other while also avoiding birds, and if you don't move quick enough, the block bloody sinks. I'm grand and stumped. At least I can get some mushy peas now. I hate this level with all my bloody being, and can quite easily say that it is a level that quite possibly ruined my goddamn childhood. So when it comes to making Wolfenstein II, the new Colossus, it's clear that the developers really wanted to make you feel like you were always on the back foot in your fight against the Nazis, actually taking this to a rather extreme level by having the protagonist BJ Blazkowicz lose his actual use of his legs and fight the Nazis from the comfort of a wheelchair. It was quite on the nose, that message there, wasn't it, mate? But because you are an absolute American badass, it was an ever-building power fantasy for the player, as soon they would not only regain the ability to walk, but would do so through the use of a super suit, ramping up their powers and strength immensely. In this form, you were able to show the so-called master race a thing or two, usually being how to die and how to take their poisoned mentality with them. However, this fantasy received a rather rude awakening when it reached the courtroom scene, which happens after BJ is captured by the Nazis. And here you are given just one objective: simply survive. Now, while that sounds cool and all, there's just one teeny tiny thing that's making things slightly more difficult. You're in a small room filled with constantly respawning high-tier enemies and naught but a pair of long johns as armor. This is easily the hardest section of the entire game, and when you consider that you take on 2 Zestoras at the end of the game at the same time, that should tell you how much of a spike this section is. Making matters worse is that partway through this survival nightmare, panzer hounds enter the mix as well, meaning that you can get dragged out of what little cover there is and get roasted alive. And you know what makes all of this so much worse is that even when you get through this horrific gauntlet of pain, you realise it was just a dream, a nightmare that BJ was having before his real trial. Just let me die, it's a dream, what does it matter? What does it matter? Why are you making me go through this? This is just... Stop doing this, I'm so tired, let me die. Ooh, right, okay, so if there is a section in the otherwise brilliant Mafia game which will turn you from a good fella into a sad one, it is the fair play mission, which is anything but fair play. Urgh! Here you need to strap into one of the most high-tech race cars of the time and go up against the best of the best in a test of your mettle that's going to require you to be heavy on the pedal. It's just a shame that high-tech race car here actually means something the little rascals knocked up in Banjo-Kazooie nuts and f***ing bolts, because the thing handles like a f***ing bathtub more than a Bugatti. Plus, it's about as resilient as taking cardboard armor to a very passionate knife fight, meaning that even if you were driving well and avoided all other racers like the plague, you could still end up buckling your own wheels and coming in dead last. And things wouldn't be so bad if your objective was to simply finish the race, but no, for some reason Mafia has got this inferiority complex and said to you, you have got to win the race. Win the race? Mate, I'm bloody well trying. The amount of time that I spent on this section became a literal pit stop towards my enjoyment for the rest of the game. I'm meant to be the Don. You're making me look like a dick. On the one hand, I guess we should praise the devs for trying to add some variety into their game, but to make this absolute clanger of a mission mandatory when racing mechanics are this bad makes me want to cut said hand off and slap those responsible with it. Even the remaster, which set out to address a lot of problems of this game, couldn't fix this section enough, and it still is one of the more challenging aspects of the title. It's been made easier, that is for sure, but it was not easy enough to be enjoyable. Whew. So if you've ever, for some weird reason, wanted to feel like a human piece of low, then I suggest you go and pick up the Ninja Gaiden game for the NES. Make your way through the rather challenging and brutal levels, and just when you think that you've got a handle on things, wait until you get to stage 6-2. You're in for a treat. And by treat, I mean poke in the fucking eye. This stage is utterly gross, and it comes from a franchise that is actually very rude to players because it can't even offer them a helping hand without slapping them in the face first. I mean, this is pretty much the scenario when you end up unlocking Ninja Dog mode by accident in Ninja Gaiden Black. Oh, is the game too tough for you, you little baby? Well, yeah, in Ninja Gaiden Black, just having the first area of the room be 3 assassins that absolutely beat the crap out of me isn't exactly very fun. Oh, you stupid little baby. Do you want me to lower the difficulty for you? Oh, actually, yes, please. That would actually make things far more enjoyable. Okay, you stupid, fat, ugly baby. I've lowered the difficulty for you. Yeah, you stupid, fat, ugly baby.
Stupid fat, stupid egg baby.
Oh, bit rude, but thank you very much for that.
But now you've got to wear this pink little bow on your stupid, smelly, egg-faced baby head. You stupid, ugly little smelly baby. You ugly, fat, little, stupid baby idiot. You're an idiot baby. And do you know why I'm making you do that?
No, not at all.
Because now you're on ninja dog mode because you're my bitch. You little, fat, stupid, smelly baby.
Like, if that was a real person, you wouldn't be friends or ever want to associate with somebody like that, right? And yet here we are, an entire series made of that mentality, of effectively going up to an orphan with an ice cream and slapping it out of their hand. That is what this game is to players. And somehow, the original was even worse. Yes, anyway, getting back on track, Stage 6-2 of Ninja Gaiden for the NES. Well, here the game ramps up its difficulty levels to such brutal fashions that The Hague called it in to stand for war crimes. This level is a gauntlet filled with enemies that respawn quicker than the obstacles in the goddamn wind tunnel from Battletoads, and there are sections in which you have to literally take damage in order to get past, using precious iframes in order to sneak by certain enemies. Thanks to the horrendous enemy placement and spawning rates, it's easy to get pushed into one of the many insta-kill holes in the floor, which of course send you right back to the start. Fun, right? However, what really takes the piss, and also so many years off my life, is the end boss of this stage, who basically just walks from side to side, firing off the sort of attacks that will melt your face like a nuclear bomb made of sick riffs. Even professional players who have mastered this game come out of this battle with just a few pips of health left. So what chance did Johnny No Nuts over here stand against this? Absolutely none, I tell ya. You're telling me if I get through these bastard rings, which lest we not forget you've only given me a minute and a half to try and get through, without telling me about the flight controls that I've got to then grab this car, move it to the end of this platform, which can be destroyed in one hit if I wasn't completely ready and willing to go straight away. You're telling me that if I fail that, I've got to go right back to the start and fucking do it again. The difficulty spike of this game is the first 5 fucking minutes. I hate Superman 64. I wish it was alive so I could shoot it. I'd go to jail for that bitch. Whew. Thank you, Jeremy, for the energy in that last one there. And that concludes another Not List, aka an episode of These Things Suck. I hope that you enjoyed that. And if you did, let me know what you thought about down in the comments section below. And if you want to chat to me further, then you can do so by heading over to Twitter and typing in @RetroJ with a 0. Or you can go over to Twitch and follow me @LiveAndLet'sDice. That's Dice with a C, where I do all of my streaming outside of work. The reason we're moving over to Twitch is because we get to do more Twitch integration stuff, and it'll be very fun to see you over there, my friends. Indeed, you can come and see me rage out in a different form as I fail to complete difficult retro video games. How fun, indeed. But yes, I just want to say, before I go, as you probably might have guessed, this is a sort of hyperbolic nature of like these videos. I try and pretend to be angry. I hype myself up to the nines to do these videos, but I don't go out there with hate in my heart, and I don't wish the same for you as well. I want you to go out there and live a happy life, not hold on to anger, because lest we not forget, it's a very draining experience to have to hold on to, and I don't want you to go out there with hate in your hearts or to feel the weight of the world made even worse by you feeling angry at things. Do not let anyone or anything tell you how to live your life, all right? You are a massive ledge. Go out there and do whatever it is you want to do, as long as it doesn't infringe on the rights of other people or hurt them in any way. Go out there and leave the best life that you possibly can, all right? That's all I want for you. Big love. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. And I'll speak to you soon. Peace.